there.
Yeah, so you did a 7 day dry fast yourself, which is absurd. Why'd you do that?
I just did it because I read the book, The Phoenix Protocol by August Dunning.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to do it for the stem cells because I want to, I want to live longer, feel better. It just seemed like a very good thing to do for your health.
Yeah. I can see you being one of those guys that just never lets yourself die. You're like, yeah, I don't believe in death, so
Yeah,
um,
we'll see what happens.
yeah. Yeah, I actually believe the same thing. I think I will live longer than 200 years, hopefully. We'll see what happens. But I think you have to like either be a breatharian, go to like Hawaii, or just kind of exist within your own you have to like grow your own food. You can't like eat out anymore ever again.
Oh, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So how did you get into fasting?
Um, yeah, I got into fasting by so I initially had Lyme's disease. So I was just constantly like trying to figure that out. And eventually I found something called like ozone. And then you've heard of ozone?
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, and so I kind of went deep into the ozone thing, and that was getting me very far. I felt like a normal life again, but then it just wouldn't finish the job. And obviously any antibiotics weren't working. And then I came across some people that were doing short fasts, and they kind of taught me to do, rolling 24 hour water fasts. And then I heard about dry fasting, and I was doing rolling 24-hour to 72-hour dry fast, which means like I would have one meal in between the dry fasts. And then eventually I was like thinking like, damn, I started reading Russian literature, and I realized that the farther you go, there's more health benefits. And then, yeah, so I got involved in that, and I found that there's actually tremendous health benefits if you go deeper and deeper, And that's one thing you're not going to really hear in a public view because everyone takes a risk by telling you that. So it's just kind of like, hey, I didn't tell you to go faster. You died, but don't sue me. Um, but I don't think it's as dangerous as people think it is. But I think that like, so for instance, there's hospitals that won't even allow the old people to kind of be euthanized. It's kind of like, hey, we're about to die. Can you please just give me the injection to kind of speed up the process? I'm obviously in pain. So some states don't even allow that. And so the doctors and the patients don't know how long a person can survive dry fasting. And so eventually they'll like live longer than 21 days. They'll even last up to 25 days. And this is not public information, but every now and then an article comes out about this. And I'm like, of course you're lasting 25 days. And sometimes the doctors feel bad. They're like, shit, this person lasted longer than 25 days. We need to give them an injection, and just kind of like finish this process. It's just, yeah, it's crazy.
So there's not a lot of information about dry fasting online. Where did you originally find information about it?
So I find that people are doing exactly what I'm doing. So now that I'm getting so many people in my DMs just asking me questions and pretty much just like all over the map. And ironically enough, not many weight loss people. Um, But for me, I kind of just read constant Russian literature, anything I can find, Phoenix Protocol. I'm on Facebook groups, seeing what other people have done and kind of living vicariously through them. And then the biggest informational source literally has been myself. Like I've been able to just go into it, and kind of take my blood tests and also do my vitals and just kind of go deeper and deeper and journal and just kind of take notes because that information really isn't available past 11 or 12 days.
Mhm.
So it's pretty much just bothering Russian people that have dry fasted and translating what they said. Hey, sorry, I just want to know, are you touching water at all? Are you going into the sun? How long are you being in the sun for? Are you doing breathing exercises? Did you really dry fast as long? So it's just like a bunch of trust. Like how did you go 7 days? Because going past 3 days is a kind of a trusting event.
Yeah. So I first started doing dry fasting. Well, first I started with intermittent fasting, and I lost about 30 pounds from just doing intermittent fasting. But then I
Wow.
started doing water fasting, just just for, I think it was for weight loss, and then also just to try something different. And I heard that it was healthy. And then I started watching a bunch of YouTube videos on dry fasting, and then There is this guy that I saw. His name is Manny the Monkey. That's his YouTube channel, and he does a pretty good breakdown on what happens to your body when you dry fast. And he did a 3 day dry fast.
Hmm.
So that was just like that right there was just incredible to me because I've never heard of anything like that. And then that inspired me to do a 1 day dry fast. And then I just kept on doing 1 day dry fast on a regular basis. And then I read the Phoenix Protocol, and then I just decided to do a 7 day fast to kick off the new year. So that's really how I started with all that. But I'm so glad that I did it because I felt you feel like a new person after you're finished with it. I mean, going through it, you might feel like you're gonna die, but eventually, you come out of it.
It's almost like a physical and a spiritual baptism, and I'm so surprised that not many people are talking about this. It's crazy how it's kind of like groundbreaking news. Dry fasting, it's so edgy right now, but the thing is, like, this is the most prehistoric way to detox of mankind. Like, this is the way to do it, and either the information is being suppressed, the literature is being burned, or like we just been lost for so long. And sometimes I feel like I live in a simulation because I'm like, how can I be the only person really shouting this message, to kind of heal yourself this way? But the fact of the matter is, if you really want to cure yourself of kind of like intense autoimmune disease, you have to go long. You have to do these crazy protocols. And it's not like, hey, I'm doing a 7 day dry fast or a 5 day, and that does the trick. Like when I first did a 5 day dry fast, I was like, for sure, this is going to cure me of everything. But that wasn't the case. Little did I know I'd be doing a 20 day dry fast, um, and kind of like having such a groundbreaking experience for myself. But yeah, that's crazy.
So how many days? Tell me your fasting journey. Like, what did you start with, and how did you build up to 20 days as your longest, right?
Yeah, so I was kind of feeling really good doing like 3 day fasts, water fasts, and then I would break with one day, and then I transitioned to dry fasting, and I was like, oh, this is like way better. I'm getting a lot more progress, and I'm feeling way better doing this. I just have to know how to break it more efficiently. So I did like a 72-hour one, and I was like, wow, I did a 3 day dry fast, and then I did a 5 day, and that was revolutionary. And then I started researching, and I realized some people were curing themselves with a brief back-to-back dry fast. So do like this one lady said they cure themselves from Hashimoto's with like a 8 day and a 1 day break, and then another 8 day dry fast. So I did that, and to no avail. That didn't work for me. But I felt really, really good. And there is something that goes on there. You can compound autophagy by hugging your dry fast. It's just more unexplored territory, and it's kind of dangerous. And so eventually I put that on hold, let my body recover, gain the weight back. And then I partook in a crazier thing, which was consecutive 15-day dry fasts. So I ended up being, yeah.
Wow.
So I was like, there's something here, and I'm gonna really go for it. And so I had to like kind of say goodbye to my family, and it was a big dispute with my family and friends. They didn't really understand it, and like people were almost calling the ambulance. Like it's just like, we don't understand this. We want you to be living on this earth, and we're gonna have an ambulance coming to your house. I'm like, listen, like it's strange that like I'm actually healing myself and getting what I need, and you're trying to prevent me from that occurring. I know you love me so much, but just kind of like, piss off for now.
Well, it's because they think it's anorexia, because that's what they've been told their whole entire life.
Exactly. It's so crazy. You're spot on. Like it's like they have an even eating disorder. They think you're going to be like that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, no, there's a time and a place. This does end. Don't worry. Like I love food more than you do. Let's eat some donuts after I'm done. Um, but yeah, so that worked. So I did 15-day. So this is kind of dangerous information for people to hear because people might try this without supervision. But like this is not medical advice for anybody to hear this, but like I did 15 days. I did a lot of prepping for that. I did a lot of dry fasting to lead up to this point, and I prepped for these fasts as well. So my body was clean, my colon was clean. I had sufficient amounts of potassium and minerals. I did a 15-day, and then I broke for 3 days, and then 15-day, then I broke for 3 days, then 15-day, and then I broke for 3 days, and then the last 15-day. So it was just over like 2 months of this process.
Oh my
So,
God.
yeah. But if you think about it, people spend years, trying to eradicate whatever. And all I had to do was 2.5 months, and I was done. So that
Yeah.
worked. And then I realized that there's even more benefits going beyond 15 days, but that's kind of more dangerous, once you go back. It seemed like the threshold for, I actually attempted 15 days numerous times, but then I can only make it 13.8 days. It seemed like that was like the number where my body was like, okay, like it's like the final adaptation to internal nutrition and breatharian state. And now you're kind of doing some real deep cleansing. So your body's like, give us some humid air to breathe in so you can hydrate through the air. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to really make it past 14 days. You have to be by some source that's kind of, you're able to drink the air. And that's kind of a crucial part of being a breatharian. You'll see breatharians who are kind of like on the beach a lot. Well, there's only one that I know of, and there's another one that's on the lake. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. So I kind of think that we are kind of we're a species. We are a special animal, in my opinion. I think we're a special animal, even though we like to think that we're not. We can exist without any food or water, and we can live a lot longer because of that. It's just like a trusting spiritual process to get there, and it's kind of like no one's doing it. But I think 10,000 or so years, I think most of us are going to be breatharian because you can actually travel in those mental spaces.
Well, I think they probably did it a lot more thousands and thousands of years ago, and it was forgotten. And it probably has to do something with money and control. So they don't want people to do this because it cures diseases and it makes everybody healthy. And there's just so many benefits for people that take the control away from the higher powers. So, yeah.
I was thinking about that when I was running today, actually, how, obviously, I think they're going to mandate vaccines soon. And I know it's a very polarizing topic, but, even if someone is pro or anti-vaccine, it's weird to force something upon somebody, like to put something in their body against their will. And it's kind of just because somebody believes that it's beneficial for the entire world. It's kind of like, hey, I'm the only one with the answer, and so therefore everyone has to do exactly what I say. That's not really a democracy, right? It's more so we should all agree upon this together. It's kind of like that Avatar movie. Not Avatar. It was I forget, with the guy with the rings, and he wanted to kill off the entire world because it's Avengers. The guy wanted to kind of kill the entire world because he feel like it needed to be detox in order for the benefit of the universe, and only he thought that. So, I think that's kind of an analogy for like the rest of our government and the rest of the world right now with the vaccine thing. So, yeah.
You want a dry fast cure a vaccine?
Excuse me?
Want a long-term dry fast cure the vaccine or like get rid of it?
I've heard some interesting theories on that. People think that if you do a 3-day dry fast right after you do the vaccine, it'll eradicate it from your body. You can get rid of anything with the dry fast. It's just that very few have the mental capacity to do so. And it seems like you have a strong mind to be able to do a 7-day dry fast. I mean, you're exploring in all these kind of different health pursuits, and you're a photographer. You got a lot going on. I feel like you might be capable of actually going the amount of days that's required. A lot of people can only do 48 hours. But yeah, I think the vaccine, it might take like a 9-day dry fast. I don't think 3 days is enough, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Well, like anything, it just takes practice. So, this 7-day dry fast that I did, I didn't really prepare for it. I kind of just did it. But if I was to do it again, I would start by, doing 24 hours and 48 hours, and then it would be a lot easier. So ever since I did that 7-day dry fast, I've been doing a 40-hour dry fast once a week. So wow. I feel like that's going to really get me used to dry fasting. And I like the way it feels too. I mean, it is a little hard because you do want food and you're just so used to eating food. But I think if I just keep on doing this consistently, it'll help a lot when I'm doing the long-term one. Totally. Yeah, you can definitely tell your skin gets better, your whites of your eyes get whiter, your teeth get whiter. I think that once you just focus on cleaning the lymphatic system, like everything else kind of like replenishes itself. It's crazy. Like I even went into my long dry fast, just kind of actually being unshowered and kind of
dirty. I went from a long traveling day, and I was confident that my body was just going to eat up, any kind of proteins on my skin or the sweat, and it did. I felt clean after like 3 days. It's a weird concept, but it just shows you the ability of autophagy on the body.
So what are your plans for fasting in the future?
Um, it's dangerous for me to tell people this because because I mean they might think I'm crazy, but like I'm gonna do another dry fast very soon. It's gonna be 25 to 27 days. I'm just gonna go until I feel like I feel good, pretty much. It's kind of there's a lot of spiritual exploration there, and I feel like there's more to be gained. And I'm just now tapping into this other kind of perspective. And I'm reading like all these books. Like it seems like all the legendary figures of our history have done these deep dry fasts, and I think that there's something very very special there with regards to like meditation and kind of achieving some kind of spiritual wisdom. And so I started kind of gaining a lot of this in the later days of the dry fast. And some people might be like, well, you were starving. It's kind of crazy. You probably were losing your mind because you were not drinking water or eating food. But it wasn't like that at all. As a matter of fact, I was reading 2 books pretty much every 2 days, like a book a day. And
Mhm.
I wrote an entire book during the dry fast. And it's just kind of like your brain is firing. Like,
Oh yeah.
art, yeah, so you can see that as well. So you get the same kind of energy pump up doing your like regular weekly dry fast.
Yeah, I just wrote a book about NFTs on my last dry fast last week. So I'm in the process of just getting it out there. So I think dry fasting is almost like a natural form of Adderall that people don't know about. So if you have something to do, dry fasting is just incredible for that. But you have to
Yeah,
get used to it, you know?
yeah,
It's not for everybody. So
yeah. I think I kind of see it as like a chart. Like you're dry fasting and you're blipping into your natural state during the dry fasts. Like that is you should be sustained in your natural state. That's what the breatharian state is, right? So it's
yeah.
just kind of like high energy constantly. And people think that like, oh, when I dry fast, I get a little bit of energy. But I definitely recommend anybody who wants to write a book to do a dry fast and just knock it out. Um, yeah. So I was gonna ask you why did you even embark on a 7 day? That seems like a hardcore thing to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Just
was it
from just from reading the Phoenix Protocol, it said that the
just
7
that?
was when you do the 7 day, you get a lot of the health benefits, and 11-day fast are more for like people with chronic conditions or cancer or something like that. But I guess the worst thing I had was my eczema. I've had it for about 20 years now, and it hasn't cleared up completely, but it's definitely gone down a lot. So I'll definitely be doing another 7 day dry fast probably in the next couple of months or so.
So I think that I had a psoriasis issue. Actually, that's one of the reasons why I did a dry fast. I had a bad jaw infection um, and psoriasis, and I found that like you're right, the stem cells do get produced a lot more with dry fasting, and you kind of restructure your immune system to kind of fight off this eczema type of virus or parasite, whatever you want to label it as. And during my shorter dry fast, I felt like I kept it at bay, and I almost debated not even trying to eradicate it because I was like, I can kind of live with this, you know. But at the end of the day, I kept thinking like, when I'm 65 or 70, this is what takes you down because eventually it feeds on you faster than your blood can filter it out, and then it causes blood clots, and that's essentially what I think kills everybody is just a blood clot or any kind of clotting.
Or lack of
um,
circulation.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was my main focus, and then I really saw how mine was affecting my brain. So I had like depressive, anxiety, nervous thoughts because of it, in my opinion. And so I was like, get this away from me so I can actually continue my life naturally. um, That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's weird. I'm in this dry fasting space, and I feel like I can't really recommend exactly what people need to hear. Like,
Mhm.
you do a 15-day dry fast, or like because that's kind of the answer. Um,
That is the answer, but the real answer that I've been telling people is just do 24 hours and see how
yeah,
you feel first,
yeah,
because it does take something building up. So it's just like do that little bit and then tell me how you feel. And then if you feel good, then maybe do a 2 day.
yeah, totally, absolutely. It seems like your parents look very healthy and and happy. Like they look good for their age. Yeah. Um, but yeah, you kind of don't need any skincare at all if you're just dry fasting and implementing that in your lifestyle. But yeah, that's crazy. Um, so do you plan on ever going beyond 7 days or?
We'll see. I was thinking about it, but it just depends on how I feel. So I'm just kind of playing it by ear. But since there's nothing really that bad, nothing's really wrong with me except for my eczema. So I'm gonna keep on doing the 7 day dry fast on a regular basis, maybe twice a year, and then maybe I'll go longer. I just don't know. And I'll keep on doing the 40-hour dry fast every week. So I think that's going to really help with so many different things.
Nice. Also, I was wondering, like, out of all the health protocols you've done, all the health products you've actually used, which one would you not do without? Like, if you had to pick one thing.
Yeah. Are you familiar with frequency healing?
With the sound vibrations, yeah, I'm familiar. I haven't tried it, but
Let me show you. Let me show you. Oh, you would love this. So
wow.
this is it's called the Chi resonant wand, and the face is 24 karat gold, and then it has gemstones like these are sapphire, topaz, and I think it's citron, and then there's rubies in here. So you hook it up to an amplifier. It's like pretty high powered. So you hook this part up to an amplifier, and then you play the frequencies through it. But I've
Oh,
tried a lot of different frequency healing devices, and this just makes me feel so good. But
huh.
so I'm gonna play you. I'll play you my. I play the mushroom frequency. It's really really fun. Magic mushrooms.
Oh, there's actually one. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what it sounds like.
No way.
Yeah. So when you play it through here, you can actually hear. You could hear the frequency, but then you feel it. So
Huh.
if you put it, if you put it right next to your head and you're watching something that's kind of psychedelic,
Yeah.
your mind's going to start tripping out a little bit. It's really cool.
Oh, I definitely need to get that. That sounds
Yeah,
right up
you
my
do.
alley.
This is perfect for when you're fasting, especially if you're doing a long-term fast. This is the thing that's going to save you.
That's like a perfect combination for deep fast and kind of really attaining those deeper states.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
That
show
good.
you. These are some of the different therapies. So there's all-purpose healing, all-purpose regeneration, blood
Wow.
circulation, male enhancement, strength boost, reverse aging, ashwagandha, lithium, herbal emulator, uh, and the right frequencies. They have all those, and
Yeah.
they have EMF, sound of the sun, 9 planets. I mean, there's just so much on here.
It's funny because this is like the new age healing mechanism is frequencies now, and I
Mhm.
completely believe it. Like, I think scientists are even saying that the smallest unit isn't an atom, it's actually a wave, and we're made up of waves. So you're actually altering your frequency by just, playing some device that's just kind of constantly saturating your waves.
Yeah. Well, so I've tried a lot of different frequency devices like the Healy and I mean so many different ones. And this one this one's definitely the best because it's so high powered.
That's awesome. I actually used to fall asleep with something called a zapper.
Okay.
So Zapper is kind of, I guess it's kind of a frequency as well, and you just have to kind of hold on to the copper handles, and it's like a little, I don't know, battery powered box that you can change the frequency on, and I would feel kind of like there'd be a die off. It would actually be effective where I would be like tired afterwards. I was like, wow, that actually did kill off something, or and then after a few sessions, I didn't feel like a die off. I felt a little bit healthier, but it
Mhm,
wasn't like anything profound. It was very subtle healing.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, that's crazy. So have you done like a protocol like every single day for like a month or so?
I've only had it for probably about 10 days, but I've been using it like crazy. And I know they tell you that you're only supposed to use it
Yeah.
for 20 minutes,
Yeah.
but I just keep it on all the time. But I think it's because my body's so used to frequencies now,
Yeah.
and my diet's really clean, and I don't really have a lot of toxins because of all the fasting
Yeah.
and my diet. So I think once you get to a certain state, you can do whatever you want with the
Mhm.
different frequencies.
I think that we have this kind of attraction to these kind of things because I mean, I do believe in like alternate dimensions, and I think that you were a light being once upon a time, but now we're in a physical being now that's still seeing these things as answers, which they are. But like in that alternate dimension, it's very much an answer. You can create things like this. You can heal your body like that. But in this physical form, it takes a little bit more effort because it's kind of like more of a dense form, you know.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. People speak a lot about this on like DMT trips and deep mushroom experiences as well, like when
Uh,
they're exploring astral projection territory.
yeah, I mean, if they were doing that exploration and they had this device, it would be totally next level too.
I know exactly how you can market this thing. You would pretty much just say, "Hey, if you want guaranteed good trips, buy one of these things," and just play. It would be a placebo effect, and people just play that frequency that's like guaranteed good mushroom trip. You know,
Yeah,
the demons can't get you as long as you press this frequency.
yeah, and it's cool because it's just like when you hear this, like it sounds so cool, right?
It does. It does.
Yeah,
It sounds like you're walking through like an elf avatar forest and you found like Jewel City. It's kind of like, oh,
yeah,
I found the Valhalla of elves. Uh,
or the Emerald City.
yeah, yeah,
You're trapped in an emerald.
yeah.
What what are some of your favorite healing technologies?
Do you know, I like some simplicity. Like I'm even trying to throw away supplements. You know, I'm trying to be as dependent on as little as possible because it seems like I've found answers on minimalistic pursuits.
Mhm.
So I really just like the standard jumping in really cold water every now and then and the dry fasting. Um, I also really I recommend iodine a lot to people who are not willing to go longer in dry fasting. They have all these problems. And so you can kind of like live a normal life again if you're supplementing larger doses of iodine with selenium as a cofactor. So that's kind of like a little biohack. Um, and
So
then
when do you take the iodine?
You take it on an empty stomach in the morning, and it's kind of like a good quality one, like Lugol's iodine. It's no longer in the soil, so like only like really deep vegetation can grasp this mineral again. And so we've kind of become accustomed to living a life without iodine in our body, and your organs really need it. So all these bacteria and viruses will block off sensors in your body, and the iodine is able to clean off these sensors. Like people are very vitamin D deficient, right? But like iodine will clean off that sensor. So they really weren't vitamin D deficient. It was just a virus or a bacteria that wanted to hijack your immune system response so that it can run dormant in your body and do whatever the hell it wants. So
Mhm.
the iodine is very antifungal, antiparasitic. There's not many things more antifungal than iodine. And
Okay.
so you're pretty much just giving your body this what it wants. But obviously, if you overdo it, you can kind of mess with your thyroid a little bit much, or if you do too little, it's not enough for your body. There's a sweet spot. Yeah. Have you
So
tried it before?
no, I haven't. So iodine and selenium, you just take it on an empty stomach.
Yeah. So selenium kind of activates the T4 cells that are able to kind of act as kind of an army to your body. So now you're activating your immune system. So in the morning, what I'll do is I'll take like 80 to 100 milligrams of iodine, and doctors will be like, that's way too much. It's not. I've been doing it for years, and my hair and my nails have only gotten healthier. If you take too little, it's only going so far. It's going to your stomach and maybe some organs around there, but you want it to go a full saturation. Um, yeah, and so I I recommend this one lady I recommended it to the other day. She's been taking it and she's like her mind is blown. Like um she had like a pH issue and that rectified that. And she's able to think clearer. It literally boosts your IQ. So fluoride like a calcifier of like your pineal gland. Fluoride is proven to lower your IQ, and it's ironically in water, right?
Yeah.
But the opposite of that is iodine, and that cleans off your body of any mucus microorganisms that are blocking your true potential, true brain potential. So you can look it up. Iodine increases your IQ. It's a scientifically proven fact. Yeah. So that'd be.
What's the brand that you get?
I get Lugol's iodine, and I like getting the higher percentages. So all iodine is in a distilled container, like a blue distilled container, and there's certain potency levels. So you can get a 2% one, that's very low potency. The 5% one is obviously higher. So I have 7% and 10% potency. So it requires less drops in my water in the morning. So I'm not doing like 40 drops, I'm doing more like 8 to 10. So it's like easier. And I kind of switched it around with distilled water. So it's kind of like immersive in it. Because if you put it in spring water, it'll kind of react with whatever it's in, and it'll become less effective. So that's why it's effective on an empty stomach in distilled water, and then 30 minutes before you have anything else. So vitamin C it'll neutralize it. So if you put vitamin C within iodine, it becomes clear water again, and it's like nothing was in there at all. Mm. So it's an oxidant mixing with an antioxidant. But yeah, so that's kind of, not to digress, but that's kind of what I would do once I failed on my dry fasts. I'd be like, shit, I didn't cure myself. Now it's time to suppress my symptoms again. And I would dive back into the iodine until my next fast, because I just wanted to live a normal life again, So that would be the thing. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm definitely going to try that.
Yeah, you should. There's a good Facebook group that kind of tells you can kind of like let other people experiment as guinea pigs and just type in the search like eczema or Hashimoto's, and you can find people that were telling you their experiences. So sometimes, people just get really obsessed with it once they realize it's working. But I don't think I hate to use the word, but I don't think it's a cure-all. I think you need to do. It can be a cure-all for kind of weaker strains of viruses. But in my opinion, I think that it's super, super beneficial for if anybody were to contract the C word, COV, then they would actually utilize iodine to get their sense of smell back, sense of taste back, and they can eradicate it faster. So you can nebulize this as well. So if you have lung infection, like a lung deprivation because of the COVID, you actually will kind of eradicate it faster because it'll go into your bloodstream and you'll kind of utilize your lungs better by nebulizing iodine. It works.
Do you take this every day?
Yeah, I don't really need it as much anymore, so I'll take it like once every 2 or 3 days, whenever I remember it. But yeah, it kind of is worth working up in potency. So you kind of want to start with like 20 milligrams and then go to 50 milligrams. You can go fast. I mean, you're already healthy, but the problem is people are very toxic already, and they have a lot of viruses and bacteria without knowing it. So they get adverse reactions to it initially, and it's not bad. It's just that their lymph nodes inflame.
Yeah.
You know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so eventually you kind of push through it kind of like a bulldozer, and you keep doing the iodine, the lymph nodes finally, dissipate, and then you're kind of back to a cleaner body. Yeah. So you can actually put a drop or two of iodine in like your camping water. You get some spring water, you put a drop or two of iodine in there. It'll purify the water from the spring water so that you can actually drink it again. It's kind of like that. So imagine what it does to your blood.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would that be good for acid reflux?
The best thing for acid reflux, in my opinion, is actually another natural pursuit is aloe vera. So if you actually go to Whole Foods and get aloe vera juice or water, you just take that like every day, and then that'll kind of clear out the passageway. It's kind of like almost like a colon cleanser. So anybody with acid reflux that finds aloe vera, they're like praying to God, like, thank God I found this. Like they can actually finally, live their life. It's it'll make your skin super good. Obviously it's known for like skin benefits, but if you ingest it rather than put it on your skin, it's a lot more effective.
Yeah, my mom's been coughing a lot like for the past year, so haven't been able to figure out why she keeps on coughing. But we have
Right.
aloe vera at the house, so it's pretty. Yeah, we could just cut it fresh.
Sometimes I feel like it can be as simple as walking into a very toxic environment and you kind of retain a fungal infection that just kind of harbors in your lungs. And
Mhm.
that's something that if she's willing to do it, look into like nebulizing iodine or hydrogen peroxide, like a little tiny bit. I just like the iodine. I can send you a video off air. It's with two very well-known homeopathic doctors that are just break it down in detail on nebulizing iodine and the benefits of, because like I used to have a bronchitis cough. Like I used to be very hoarse. Like if I was coughing on a plane, it sounds like very unattractive. And my sister has it too. And then I started nebulizing iodine. Now I'm back to coughing like a normal person. I don't really cough. I don't really ever get sick anymore. And I think that I stop a lot of sicknesses in their path by nebulizing iodine. Like I even did it before I went on this interview, just to kind of make sure I'm like completely clean nasal, like my head, I'm thinking in a clear space. So
Mm.
I'll kind of like put it on my face and like breathe it in, and I'll kind of let it saturate my sinuses and my lungs. And then I kind of just exhale, and then kind of just makes me think and speak clearly.
Well,
Yeah.
that sounds amazing. I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna try all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, nothing is probably more potent than there's one kind of cool thing that I actually I'll wrap it up after this. I know you're probably busy. Yeah. Um, I I feel like the one thing that made me kind of go beyond my limits in dry fasting was utilizing breath work. And I know it's kind of like an obvious thing to do, but I think like within 6 hour period, all of your blood circulates through your lungs, giving your lungs an opportunity to exhale the toxicity.
Mhm.
So people kind of do these short breaths, but they realize you have to do like you have to really like think of your lungs as a third kidney.
Mm.
Obviously your kidneys, then your skin, then your lungs, and just helping your blood detoxify. Because if you don't do this efficiently enough, you're not going to be able to go far in dry fasting. Um, but uh, but yeah, I'll leave it at that. And hopefully your mom, if she has any questions at all, I'd be happy to tell her my unprofessional advice.
Well, thanks so much.
For sure. Yeah. Thank you very much for doing this interview with me. I appreciate it very much.
Thanks. Okay, see you later.
Yeah.